Hello people, this is Moffatt from Kharischangeworks. Guys, I hope you are well. From a tropical England, it's really nice here at this moment in time. Humid, high temperatures, very nice. I have another short story or a thought of the day. So this one is kind of a short story, but it's kind of a thought either. So I'm not sure what we're going to name it, but in any case, here it goes. There was a dog who was walking in the street, and upon his travels he sees an abandoned piece of meat. He decides he's going to take this piece of meat and scarper and find a peaceful, quiet place outside the reach of the city dogs, where he can eat his treasure as a gift to himself. And as he walked through the fields, he came across a little stream, and there was like a little bridge which he decided to cross over. And as he came to the top of the bridge, he looked down. Not knowing that he was looking at himself, he noticed that there was a dog looking at him. And he too had a piece of meat. And his own wisdom, he assumed and thought to himself, that piece of meat is bigger than mine. I could really do with that instead. And with that, he went to grab that other piece of meat. And of course, the piece of meat that he had fell in the stream and floated away. Isn't that the same as most people nowadays? The keep up with the Joneses, if I can use a phrase that we so often use, when we are so hyped and so driven to get the next best thing that is better than my next door neighbor, better than my best friend, better than my husband or my wife. And instead of being content with that what we have, somehow this bigger, better, nicer, shinier thing traps us just like the dog looking at its own reflection. And that reflection in the mind's eye completely blinds us to that what we actually have. Now in the story it was the dog with the piece of meat. In real life, we want the next best car, the next best piece of jewelry, the next best piece of art, the nicer house, the shinier jewelry. And we are driven by getting these things when we forget that we've got our health and we've got our sight and we've got speech and we've got hearing and we can smell. We can love and we can be loved. We can think. These other things that mean so much, we kind of forget because we are now driven by whatever is the flavor of the month in the mindset of so many of us. So I ask you today, are you just like that dog that is looking at its own reflection, not realizing that it's actually got a piece of meat in its mouth? Being blinded by a facade of other things. Not realizing that as he goes for that what he already has, but thinks it's bigger and better and nicer and this and that, he's actually going to lose what he's actually got. Please don't be like that dog that forgets what he's got and is chasing something that he thinks he needs, thinks he wants. I was speaking to Lara only earlier today, where I said to her, there was a minister who, in the church that we both went to, in fact, where he used to say quite frequently, sometimes we ask for apples and we get pears. And we can't understand why we get pears when we are asking for apples. It's only afterwards that we realize if we had apples, our lives would be in a mess. But because we got pears, it made us better. And I think sometimes we are chasing the apples in life, just like the dog was chasing the bigger piece of meat. And I think what we need to do is to slow down in our mind and actually get to the place where we realize and become more aware of that what we have. We miss so much because we're not looking in the right places. It's easy to fall prey to chasing facades. This hollow image of a better life. As someone once said, yes, the grass might be greener at the other end, and it's only because there is so much cow dung on it, and besides, you still have to mow the lawn. So, what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say here is simple. Appreciate that what you actually have. That is at your disposal. It's at your fingertips. And avoid at all costs the facade of a better life, when in fact what you've got is priceless. It is simple. Don't chase the bigger meat when you already have a piece of meat in your mouth. Yes, we can say that the dog is only an animal and it doesn't know. Yeah, that's true. But when I deal with people, sometimes I think I'm dealing with some kind of an animal. So, let's be wise, let's be mindful, let's become aware of what we already own in our lives. Health, the ability to see, the ability to speak, the ability to hear, the ability to love, the ability to help, friendships, relationships, these kind of things we already have. So my friend, I'm going to encourage you to take stock of your own life and notice the piece of meat in your mouth that you already have and value it instead. I hope this little video has given you some reason to think about what you own and who you are, what you have. Whatever the case might be, please do all the YouTube admin. Pick call when you hit the bell, please. It's really important. But for now, this is Mark from Kharischangeworks. I'll speak to you soon.